chess, also known as a chisma chess. So it's a whisper video, and it's a video with the chess board. And if you notice, it's quite dark. I'm trying it out. I am trying it out. So let's get the phone out and let's play some chess against people on the internet. So I have my phone. It's connected to the chessboard. I'm saying I would like to play on lead chess. I can be any color. I'd like to play 5 minutes plus 5 seconds for each move. And I will search for a game. And now I am patiently waiting for an opponent to explode on. They can stunt if they want, but their king will get rolled on. I am in a bit of a funky mood today, and I cannot guarantee that there will be no rapping during the course of this video. I may not be able to help myself at all times, so let's see. And of course, while we wait for the game, a little bit of housekeeping. Yeah, the board. You can buy the board if you want to. There is a link in the description. It's a very cool board. It can do a lot of things. It can teach you chess. You can play against the computer inside the game. You can play online on chess.com or on lead chess. And it has basically a billion features, and it's really, really cool. I have many videos with it, and you get 10% off if you use my promo code and everything. So yeah, that's in the description. And we have a game. Our opponent plays pawn to e4. We have the white pieces. Let's go pawn to c5. And okay, they see knight c3, pawn to d6. We are going for maybe a Sicilian dragon. Okay, bishop c5. Not one of the most testing moves, not one of the most testing moves. It's a speed game, so I'll play a little fast. I'll play knight f6. Okay, they are going for a sort of a very cheap trick here on f7, so they play knight to g5, coordinating the knight and the bishop on f7. This threat is extremely easily dealt with. We just play pawn to e6. Now this bishop is biting on granite. It cannot access the f7 square, and we have no problems whatsoever. We see a very unambitious move from our opponent, pawn to a3, preparing maybe to tuck this bishop on a2. But we play knight to c6, and in a short while, okay, they play pawn to d3. Let's not go for the dragon, let's just play bishop e7, since they forced us to make room for this bishop on this square. There's no reason to waste another move trying to get it on the long diagonal. White castles, we castle. We castle as well. And we are probably playing d5 sometime soon. Just pushing this pawn forward, trying to sort of punish white for being underdeveloped. We can see white has, despite having the first move, only developed 2 pieces and castled, of course, while we have developed 3 pieces and castled, and they waste another move now, coming back with the knight. I think on principle we owe it to the position to play pawn to d5. So just opening up, staking a claim in the center. They play e takes d5, we play e takes d5. And they tuck the bishop back here on a2, as we discussed earlier. Now, should we pin this knight? Bishop to g4. I expect pawn to h3. No, they do actually just defend the knight with knight bd7, knight bd7, knight bd7. That's a beat, right? Knight bd7, knight bd7, knight b. Would beatbox be good for ASMR? I don't know. Are we attacking that knight? What are we really doing? Let's develop this. Let's just develop this rook to e8. Can't be all bad on that square. They play pawn to c3. Now this pawn is potentially weak, so we could play knight e5. Looking at the d3 pawn. Also, of course, looking at the f3 knight. Knight b d7, knight b d. They think they're crazy, but they ain't crazy. Okay, so what moves would we like to make? Okay, interestingly, they are walking right into what we are talking about with rook to e1. After rook to e1, we will play knight takes d3. And now we have posed a massive problem for white. Of course, we are a pawn up, which is always nice to be ahead in what we call the material count. But we are also attacking this rook here. We are attacking this bishop. We are attacking this pawn. So they play rook to e3 is the square, attacking our knight. And I think we will be very naughty here and play pawn to c4. So just cementing this octopus knight on the square. They play bishop back to b1 on the square on which Kasparov himself cemented an octopus knight against none other than Anatoly Karpov. Now let's see if we can make this a little fun somehow. Let's see. So they are going to try to capture the knight, right? I'm thinking we just protect the knight with bishop to f5. Of course, a bishop will not be as strong on the. Oh wow! They play knight. That is quite interesting. The bishop will not be as strong on d3 as the knight. They play knight d4, attacking our bishop. We drop the bishop back so as to maintain the attack on the d3, or the defense rather on the d3. Knight, our super knight here. And we have moves such as knight g4 coming in. Okay, so they do play knight f3. Let's play knight g4, attacking the rook. And well, we are just doing absolutely wonderfully here. It is unclear how they are going to proceed. Now they play rook back to e3. I think let's protect this knight by playing knight takes f2. Now wonderfully coordinating with the other knight. This is just an absolute beauty of a chess position. I am really enjoying myself right now. They play queen d2. I will start moving my pieces a little faster here. I will now play bishop to c5. And what this is about is basically I'm only about a minute left on the clock, but I do get an extra 5 seconds added for every move I make, and for every breath you take, I'll be whispering. And yeah, so we are basically just having a good time in opposition, and I'll be moving quite fast for the next couple of moves, because the position is so extremely strong. Bishop takes knight, knight takes bishop, that basically my only real concern, rook takes rook and queen takes rook, is that I will lose on time. That is what I do not want. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, they try to play b4. We drop the bishop back to b6. Let's maintain this extremely strong bishop towards the king. Bling bling, it ain't no thing to attack the king. And now, could we play a move such as queen to a4? Alright, interestingly we see rook, king h3. Now we do play queen a4, basically threatening to infiltrate in various ways, also vacating the e8 square for the rook, so that the rook... Oh, that's annoying. The light went out. We'll have to work with that. Okay, bishop here, bishop to b2, rook e8. Just trying to keep everything straight and under control. Now I feel my my queen may be misplaced over here. Okay, rook f1. Let's go back with the queen to d2. Alright, let me just turn on a little bit more light here, and I'll fix the cozy situation with the dark theme for the next game. Now I think a move that could be interesting would be bishop to e4. Alright, they play a4, we play a6. We want to be able to tuck this bishop away. They play a5, we do tuck the bishop away on a7. Now the bishop is also poised to come to good old b8, where we could see some stuff on h2 coming up maybe, and there could be in the future some shenanigans, various sorts of shenanigans possible. I think a move that would be quite nice would be something like bishop to e4. Just bishop to e4 could be quite nice. Just blocking everything, attacking or everything, defending everything, just absolutely crushing the position, having a very good and relaxed time. We see pawn to h3. Now the square's extremely weak. The dark squares, let's start out just quite nice and easy with bishop to e4, blocking everything up, attacking everything, defending everything. Okay, so they try to come in with the knight here. And am I concerned about that? I don't think so. I'll drop the bishop back for now though, because I do not want to exchange it. I could, but I don't want to. Not quite. Not yet. And because I want to get the queen in on the dark squares before we really go anywhere else. The queen on the dark squares, you see after this h3 move, the h2 square, the g3 square, the f2 square, and the g1 square, all the dark squares around the king. What are they? What are they? They are weak. So let's sneak in and attack them. Knight back after knight a h4. And yes, we also have the option here of playing bishop to b8, threatening a potential checkmate at some point, maybe. So let's see. The queen and the bishop are all very much working very well together. Their dark squared bishop is absolutely terrible. Yes, our position is crushing. It's beyond crushing, but one false move and we can lose the entire game, and that would be a shame, wouldn't it, my friend? We would then have to begin again. However, beginning again in chess is one of the great pleasures of the game, isn't it? Isn't it? The fact that we can always just play another game. Okay, queen to e3. Let's go with queen g3. And of course we do now have a small problem. Oh, we did win on time here, or was it resignation? So you saw that little animation, and that is either a time win or resignation. Let me just check the phone. It was indeed a time win. So in a position like this, I'm not sure even what my opponent, like, they are close to being in Zugzwang. I'm not sure what they can really do here. And our plan, of course, is to play move maybe like king here to protect the rook, so that we could at some point maybe come in and capture here, so that they wouldn't have time to recapture here, because then we would capture the queen. And if they don't have time to do that, if they have to capture with the queen, well, then this would be checkmate. And as you know, checkmate ends the game, my friend. Now, let me do a little bit of movie magic with some special editing and get the lights back in the cozy configuration that I was going for originally. I think that is better, isn't it? Cozy and nice and relaxing. Perfect for sleep. Now, what we need in order to make you sleep is to play more chess. That would be my first guess. And let's put up the pieces. And we are now once again waiting, patiently waiting for a game to explode on, yeah. They think they crazy, but they ain't crazy, let's face it. Shit, basically, they just playing shit, they insane, shit spraying 58 to the K, get in the way, I bring 3 and them with me, turn the stay into freaking making you staying with me. Don't let me lose you, I'm not trying to confuse you when I let loose with the Susu and just through you, you getting the message, am I getting through to you, you mother? Don't even know what coming now, do you? You take some bacon, some park, mix them up in the pot, sprinkle a little big L on top. What the frick do you got? You got the realest and illest killers tied up in a knot. The juggernauts of this rap shit, like it or not, it's like a fight to the top, just to see who died for the spot. You put your life in this, nothing like surviving a shot. You know what time it is, soon as 50 signs from the start. There's no surviving this. What you know about their threats? Cause I get a lot. Shady records was 80 seconds away from the tower. Some cowards with the wrong building, they meant to hit ours. They better evacuate all children, it's nuclear showers. There's nothing spookier, you know, about to witness the power of checkmate and ASMR. Yeah. We are facing pawn to e4. Let's mix it up and play g6 here. So we are not going with the Sicilian every game we see. Pawn to d4, bishop g7. Now we see this is a bit of a mistake. Pawn to e6. We can actually go ahead here and just attack that with pawn to d6. And we already advantage in this game. We do have a bit of an advantage in this game, so that is quite nice. Okay, they defend with the knight. Should we make this into a boring positional game? Why not? Why not? Or rather, why should we? Let's first play c5. I was thinking we could play pawn takes. Okay, they do capture that. That is quite interesting. So they maybe want to make this into a boring positional game. I think, however, that if we do play pawn takes on e5 here, they can exchange the queens, which they are going to do. Queen takes queen, that is check. Then king takes queen. Now we have lost the rights to castle. However, I am not overly concerned about this. They play bishop to b5. Now, let's be sure to avoid anything unpleasant with this bishop. So we play bishop to d7, kind of hoping that they will exchange the bishop. You can then recapture with the knight. They do play bishop takes a bishop. We play knight takes bishop, now threatening on c5 and baiting them into making this huge mistake with bishop to e3, allowing us to break free with pawn to e4, a move that we have seen before. We are threatening here on b2, and okay, they do play knight. They do play knight d4, which does block this, but now our bishop cannot come in and capture here, but we can, I think, just come and capture this pawn here, because they do have discovered attacks with this knight, but they don't seem to work that well, because knight to e6 check, we could actually move this knight that would be exposed to the bishop by capturing the knight, and if they tried the other check here, we could capture that and they could capture our knight, and we would still have won that single pawn. Now I am quite happy with our position. I will play rook to c8, because now there is absolutely no funny business. That knight is just quite nicely protected. Alright, they throw everything, including the kitchen sink, towards our knight. I am thinking that I may want to try to mess them up a bit here, because I can make a discovered attack against this knight here that is no longer protected. Let's say knight d3 check, pawn takes knight, rook takes knight, pawn takes pawn, I guess, and maybe we are actually losing a pawn there. So let's do something much more restrained and play knight to d7. Still an aggressive move, of course, and they do fall for it. So they play rook to d1, we play rook takes knight on c3. This knight is no longer protected after the b4 move. We see knight to b5 attacking the rook, and I think we can just play rook takes on c2, now potentially threatening bishop c3 as well. we see bishop takes a7. Well, that does seem sensible. However, we may be able to trap that bishop with a move such as pawn to b6. Now the bishop will have a hard time coming back, except for the huge blunder that the bishop can't just, in fact, capture this, which I was not really paying attention to here, unfortunately, because the knight that I thought was defending was, of course, pinned by this rook. Now I will go to c8. I will go to c8 here, because I do not want to allow the good version of this knight check. And I think here, here I may be able to quite simply play king b7. So if rook takes, okay. Alright, so here it is quite crucial that we do develop our pieces. Our knight is hanging. Let's throw in this check on c3 before we do anything else. Okay, the king moves. A small victory there. Now let's make sure that this knight isn't just captured. We could do that by playing knight g to f6, thus protecting. Okay, we see pawn to g3. They are trying to castle by hand. We will try rook a8, trying to capture this knight here, and they play pawn to b5. What does that do? How is it that I can't just go in and capture this knight here? That's quite perplexing. They play king g2. What are they doing? Rook takes a2. I think they played very hastily there, and their position was probably pretty bad, maybe even losing, but what they did was completely unnecessarily there, I think. Unnecessary. It's now their position is, well, it's hopeless. Alright, and they did resign there. Okay, so we are up a massive amount of material, and there's just nothing they really can do from here. So yeah, let's go. Let's roll on. Like the relaxation rolls over your entire body and makes you sleep, 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 sleep. Relax, relax, relax. In the exact same fashion, I will roll my chess move out in the ether, send them over the internet and crush many more people. And I'll do all the thinking, and you will do all the relaxing. Okay, I'm searching for a random game again, but this time 10 minutes for each player plus 5 seconds added to the clock for every single move, so that we will not lose on time or feel the pressure from the clock as heavily. So we may be able to relax even more. Okay, where you see pawn to e4 again. I'll play the Sicilian, switch back to the original, the OG opening on this channel. We see knight to f3, d6. This is all very, very standard, of course. Now, yeah, we see pawn to d4, open Sicilian. We play c takes d4. They will play knight takes d4. As we see here, we then play knight to f6, attacking the e4 pawn. moves in the Sicilian so fast? Why are they pausing now? Because this is such a standard move, knight to c3. We will see g6, bishop e2, an excellent move in this position. Bishop g7 by us. We are following sort of the modern way for white to handle the dragon. It's a little bit scary. Okay, they do castle kingside though, which is a lot less scary. All of a sudden we are going to castle kingside as well, because ever since the 70s, the way to really handle the setup that I'm playing here is through something called the Yugoslav attack, where you castle queenside for white, then you push all the pawns over here like small foot soldiers, and they will hack away at the walls of my castle in which my king is situated, until there will be an opening, and as soon as this opening comes, you transfer the queen and the rook to the h file and go for a checkmating attack. Instead, we see a different plan here, castles, and now bishop to e3. I think this is not really that testing. Let's play knight c6. The knight wants to be there anyway. We want to play bishop d7 as well. Okay, they do go for a similar idea here with the queen to d2. So they want to play bishop h6 to exchange this bishop for this bishop. We will play this nifty little maneuver with a rook to e8. e8. Now wait, why did we play rook e8? Now you will see. The mystery will be explained. And this move is ingrained in my memory and my brain, because I was once taught this by an actual chess grandmaster. Now look at that. I took the bishop away here, and they cannot capture a rook on f8 because it has moved. You see, it has moved. So I'm not allowing them. Interesting, they go back with knight f3. I'm not allowing them to exchange these two bishops. I'll just play bishop d7. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should rush anything at all. I don't think I am under any significant pressure. Pressure. I don't think so. No, I don't. I think I have the situation under control. I am on a roll. Unless I am playing a guy using an engine which we also know as a troll, in which case everything is of no consequence, because in that case I will be destroyed. So they play rook e8. Let's just play rook c8. Now you can see we have almost all pieces developed to their optimal squares. They play rook a to d1. A to d1. I think I'll just play a6. I'll just say, okay, taking away the square for your knight and for your bishop. And my friend, what's your plan? I have prophylactically defended against everything you have done. So what's it gonna be? What can you do now? How can you attack my fortress here? My king does not have a fortress of solitude. No, he has all his friends, his servants, his lovers, his noble knights, his family. They are all there with him, protecting him, and he will lead them to victory, because he is a brave king. Okay, they play h3. They are maybe uncertain about what they can and should do. Let's activate the queen just a little bit. Let's just poke around just a little bit with the queen to b6. Queen to b6. Just saying, capture here on b2. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, a little concession here. We see b3. Now we notice this knight. What's up with that? Only defended by the queen. This bishop mounting the scope. Mounting the scope on the sniper rifle. There will be a little red laser dot on the snout of this knight quite soon. Quite soon indeed. So if only we can get this knight out of the way in some fashion that is beneficial to us, we can unleash an absolutely devastating attack here. We could also play queen now to a5, which is quite nice. So now we are looking at the knight with the queen, potentially with the bishop, also with the rook. So maybe this is the knight, the c6 knight. Maybe that is the one that will start the fight. It will be the c6 knight that will strike fear in the hearts of our opponents, as they will be trampled beneath the hooves of this mighty steed. Indeed. So interesting. They play pawn to a4. Now, what knight do we activate, and how are we going to do it? Is there a way to be really cheeky here? I think there may be a way to be really cheeky. Now watch this little beauty here. Boom. Knight g4. That's how we declare war in this beautiful game. We will bring the pain like METHOD, main. So if they do capture the knight, our bishop will swoop in and capture here on c3, and that will certainly also win the exchange, because the queen will have to move because it will be attacked, and then we can come in and snag up this rook here on e1. So maybe this knight is immune, if indeed this knight is immune. If really it is, then maybe we can just come in and capture this bishop. And if they have to recapture with the queen, again this knight will be in trouble. So yeah, I think we have an excellent position here. Knight to g4 is just a very nice strike. They do capture our knight. So let the fireworks begin. Bishop takes on c3. Quite nice indeed. Right. The queen moves out of the way. Queen goes to f4. Is it time that we just cash in? I think so. I mean, they may have some desperate attempts for a counterattack against f7, but I think I can handle that. Let's play knight takes e1, okay, and then rook takes e1. And I think actually that I in this position can play quite nice move here. Knight to e5. Of course, if they do capture that with their knight, yes, I would have queen takes rook, because the rook would no longer be defended. And now may be able to actually capture this pawn on g4. I think I can actually do that. So I'll just do that. Pawn takes. Knight takes on g4. Nicely protected by the bishop. And they do try to go for this checkmate here. But I can go back with the knight, which defends the checkmate. And they're looking at this f7 square, which is where they want to attack. But we bring the knight back, and that's how we defend. And now we must attend to our attack once more. This is, after all, war. We will play over the entire board. So, right, okay. Still looking at trying to make this attack work. I think I'll just make my life easy here and give up the exchange, give the exchange back, because it may not be theoretically the most precise move, but it is quite easy and it does maintain a great advantage. And how do we proceed from here? Let's just capture some pawns, I guess. Yeah, I think we'll just capture the a4 pawn. I'm thinking that they will play pawn to c5, we will play queen takes c2, attacking the rook, and I think we should be good. Oh, right, nice. Rook here. Because, what do they want? They want to capture this knight so that they can come in and make an attack. I have this idea of first giving this check here. Then king to h2, and I was thinking knight g5 was good here. Knight g5 check, with the idea of picking up the bishop. King here on g3, king to g3, and I was thinking that knight takes h6 could be quite nice, because on h6 we are still defending h7. They do push on forward, keep pushing them, baby. This is crazy, like Slim Shady. Let's get in with some checks. Queen c3. Okay. So I think we may be checkmating them almost. Queen e1 check. Not a lot of squares here. They have to go back. So they had that one square. Let me just check the time. I have almost 3 minutes left. So there's no great time pressure at this moment in time. And can I play? Nah, that seems a little risky. How about getting this bishop on a potentially stronger diagonal, attacking this rook? Particularly now, it may be a good time, because if that rook has to move, we may have a great advantage. Because if the rook wants to keep protecting the e5 square, it will have to go. It cannot go to a5, it cannot go to b5, it cannot go to c5, meaning that now we can just come in and capture this like so, pinning the queen to the king, thus forcing a trade of queens, which will all but win the game. I would say that that is how we play, and I would say that we have basically won now. I would say that we have basically won, and there it is. And let me remind you, there's a link in the description if you want to checkmate your opponents and get that cool animation yourself. You can get the board. There's a link in the description, and if you want sort of some less biased review, I have you can get that from me because I make money from selling the board. So of course I'm going to say that it's amazing. I mean, I think it's amazing, but but if you go to a video I have made of I'll also link it in the description, called the most advanced chessboard in the world. For some reason, a lot of people who already had bought the board commented with their experiences in the comment section of that video, and yeah, you can go and read what they think of the board if you want to. If you want somebody else to tell you, and not just me. Maybe I can showcase also what the board can do before we play another game, just because it is amazing. I would say the real killer application, for this is to teach very young children. I mean, I love the board as an adult. I love the fact that if I want to play online, I can have a physical board. I love all the features. But the real benefit is if you want to teach your child as young as like 4 years old, the fact that you don't have to explain how the pieces move, but it can just show you, right? Is so intuitive, and I've taught children with this board, and they just get it instantly, and then you unlock that, sort of sometimes scary brain power that is hidden within even small children, because they have no biases, they have nothing clogging up their memory, they are not stressed about bills they have to pay, and if they sort of start focusing on something and you take away all the distractions, like, oh, I have to remember how the knight moves. No, you don't. The board will help you with that, and they just are allowed to use that amazing engine that is a child's brain and a child's imagination. It's just amazing how quickly they get into the game. It may bruise your ego, because in a year or two they'll probably beat you. but okay, let me show you some features just quickly before we go to the next game. So I have these touchpads over here, so I could click here and say, this is playing against a human opponent that is present with me in the room. And let's say I'm teaching a child, just to keep on with the metaphor here, or the example. I can then just get a little bit of help here, so that when I'm to play a move, it just shows just the legal moves, that's all. So let's say I play this. The child on the opposite side, at this point in time, I may still be a stronger player. That's why it has assistance. I have enabled help. So if you look here, oh, those are both green moves, but those are both blue moves. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that these two are recommended moves. Those are good moves. The Sicilian is up here, and the Caro-Kann is here. Both recognized sized openings, whereas moving this is okay, but it is not recommended. Maybe we can also have a red move. Can you see? Can you see here that square is red? That means that it is a bad move. So if we play like this, we can see that the child can learn to look for the good moves and not make the bad moves, and that can help them motivate them, because that will give them a chance against a superior opponent. And it just works so well. Many features like this on the board. It also, like in the app, which can teach you the real rules. It can teach you different chess techniques, and you can play online, of course. And like it can do a million different things. So yeah, link in the description. You save 10% if you use it, and you also support the channel. Now, let's get back to playing some online chess, shall we? Ooh, I have the white pieces. Let's go with a pawn to d4. They play pawn to e6. Here I'll play knight f3. Yeah, they play d5. And then now I'll play c5. I just wanted to do a little move order skirmish here, because I'm sure if I had played c5 right away, I would have walked into the proper Nimzo Indian. And after bishop b4 check, I seem to remember that just knight bd7, knight bd2, I mean, is the correct way to go about this. But bishop d2 seems quite nice as well, and I'm curious about this. This I actually maybe like even better, because at least if they do capture, bishop takes bishop, I can play knight on b takes bishop, which will be protecting the c4 pawn already. So this is quite nice. Okay, we see knight to f6. Let's just play pawn to e3. I have a feeling here that this opponent knows what they are doing. Bishop d7 though does not look particularly strong. I will play bishop d3, holding back on queen c2. Okay, they do play pawn takes. It's the recommended in this position, so I lose a tempo with the bishop. I play bishop takes c4, and they play this curious move, bishop c6. It's a pretty roundabout way of developing this bishop. I mean, it does work. It is, in that sort of regard, just kind of a fine move, but it is kind of a roundabout way, using a lot of moves. I will just castle. I will say it's fine. I'm not too concerned with this. They castle as well. I think just rook e1 from me here, so that I may push my e-pawn. Okay, they play bishop to bishop to d5, and I think that I will play bishop back to d3, and here I may have a plan. I may have a plan of pushing the e-pawn first to e4, then to e5, and maybe see if I can make some big attack against their king. So let's try that. Let's go e4 first. Okay, they do drop back. And here my idea was to play pawn to e5. Now let's see how this will go, because of course their bishop is very strong now, but it may also be the case that I can just make a h4. Potentially. Oh, okay, knight to b4, attacking the bishop. So I was considering playing bishop 8 takes h7, king takes h7, knight to g5 check. And since we've already had some amazing victories so far, I will try this risky sacrifice without even calculating it to the end. So we will say bishop takes check. It's the first part of our plan. Of course, if the king doesn't recapture, we are very happy. So the crucial line is king takes, knight g5 check. If king goes back, I think I win with queen h5 check, or queen h5 should be like a very, very deadly threat. So I guess, okay, here, I guess after knight g5 check, I guess the crucial variation is king to g6. So what we're doing here is called the Greek gift. The Greek gift sacrifice. And I would love, I'm not going to lie, I would love to have some more bishops. We're trying this. However, it does look like we can get some firepower aiming at the king, even if he bravely goes to g6. So king to g6 is, it's almost forced, I would say, because king back to g8, I'm not sure how you are ever going to defend against queen h5. I'm not sure how you're ever defending against that. So king to g6 takes g5 away. And then maybe I play knight d to e4. Because if bishop takes, then rook takes. Quite nice. And if not, then I may be able to press pawn to h5, now that the knight would be defended by the other knight. Seems our opponent is up in the tank a little bit. It would be a little crazy, but it could be possible that king to h6 was the correct move, because after king to g6 I will now probably play queen to g4, with potential discovered checks by the queen as soon as the knight moves. So maybe king h6 here. What will I play on king h6? Probably still something like queen g4. Trying to maybe get in on the dark squares. Queen g4 and then f4. But they are having a great big old think here. I think we're actually doing really, really well, to be honest. Because queen g4 is just going to be a very strong move. And I just can't believe that they can play king back to g8. I just can't believe that that's a move at all in this position. King h6, okay. We do see king h6. Well, let's not waste too much time. Queen g4. And we do have a bunch bunch of threads here. Okay, quite interesting. So they play. I think that's a huge mistake on their part. They play f4, f5, which we could capture en passant, which I don't think I want to. I think I want to just play this. Oh, is that what they are doing? I was thinking. But I should still be winning. I was thinking queen to f4. And here for a moment, I was a little bit afraid of knight to d5. But I think I should still be okay. They do want to get out of that. Of course, I now have knight takes on e5 with a presumably rather devastating fork on the queen and the rook here. I think, yeah, so they do put this little move in. I think I get out of that quite easily with this check. Queen g3 check. And now I think I win the queen with check even. Unless I do have some checkmate here. Queen takes pawn, king takes knight. No. So probably easier to just capture the queen. Rook takes knight. Let's just push on. Pawn to e5 check. And there's not much to do. There's not much to do here. Yeah, they resigned. I can understand how they resigned or why they resigned that game. It looks very, very hopeless from here. I won their queen. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to look at that sacrifice there, if that was correct. The Greek gift. It always leads to exciting games. Okay. So we changed the lighting a little bit there. Just after about an hour here, let's just change the lighting and let's play some more chess. We want to be the very best at playing chess. Actually not. I had a guy or a girl or someone in the comment recently asking why I wouldn't train to become a titled player. And there are two reasons that I'm not doing that. Number one is that I don't really think I have the talent for it. Like, I could have become an FM maybe if I had been serious about chess from when I was a kid. Maybe. But I started out late, relatively late. I mean, compared to Abhimanyu Mishra, who started out at age 4. Like, I started out really thinking about chess as more than just any other game when I was like 20. So yeah, that's a bit too late. And also the real competitive aspect, the whole thing about, oh, I'm so good, I'm better than you, I win, is sort of the least interesting thing about chess for me. It just, like, winning is nice, but it just doesn't give me that huge kick, and losing is bad, but it's not the problem for me. Like Kramnik said, that in order to become good at chess, you have to be a hard worker, a master psychologist, and you must absolutely hate losing. And I just don't hate losing that much. So so many. The history of the game is interesting, the psychology of the game theoretical aspects, the strategy, all the stories, how it reflects, like what it says about us as humans, that this game has been with us for 1,000 years, is interesting. It's interesting in so many ways, and the competitive aspect is, to me, just one bit, tiny small bit of chess. Enough of that. Let's go and play. Let's challenge a new opponent. Okay, here I have the white pieces. Let's try out a pawn to e4 for once. I actually had to change it, so we are playing 5 plus. We are playing 5 plus 5 because I couldn't find a game with 10 plus 5. So the game so far has gone e4, knight c6, d4, e5, d5, and now knight b4. So, I mean, a3 chasing away this knight, and the knight is fast running out of squares to go to. So this could be a quick game, maybe. This is, yes, so they are just coming in and capturing here. And in order to try to make this a quick game, I will recapture with the queen. Trying to just go for a checkmate on f7. Okay. Not allowing that, but we do get this check here instead. And okay, they do block like this. So I'm guessing that knight c3 will be a good move here, because quite soon they will probably have chased away my queen. And when that happens, I would like to have something already protecting my e4 pawn. So they are getting ready to chase away the queen here. So I think I will prophylactically move her to g3. And I should be good here. They are, of course, coming after me a little bit. And maybe in this position I can push the pawn. However, I'm not really threatening to capture anything with that pawn, because it's pinned to my king. However, I will have it protected. So I think that is what we will do. And if they play queen e6, we are going with bishop f4. Okay, they just capture. That is interesting. We are going to capture that as well. So now we are 2 pieces up, 2 pieces up, 2 pieces up. They capture with the rook. That is check. We capture the rook with the queen. So we are now up a lot of material. They do play queen to e8, and I guess we can just capture that. It should be quite easy to win the game now. They will recapture with the knight. Let's develop our bishop. Bishop f4 attacking c7. It is defended by the knight. Okay. And let's castle long, because we activate the rook like that. I have 3 minutes left, so we are not hurting on time at all. Let's chess to a good chess strategy, which would be to not trade pieces when you are behind on pieces, because it just makes the game easier and easier for me, makes it harder and harder for them to create any threats with fewer and fewer pieces. I activate my last piece, the rook here, goes to a1, and they push their pawn. I think we'll just play bishop g5, saying maybe we should do another trade of pieces. And you can see how easy winning in chess is if you know that you can just... Okay, they even missed that they could capture this. I think it's probably a mouse slip. So we will just go back with the bishop defending the f1 pawn, and I mean, there's not much to say. We have an absolutely crushing advantage. Our opponent has absolutely no counterplay, and they resigned. So let's have another game. I think that was quite instructive if you're new in chess, and you can just pretty easily see there. What am I doing? Just pretty easily see there why it's good to trade when you are pieces ahead, and why it's bad when you are behind. Because I basically had no problems in that game at all. Not because I played any brilliant moves, not because I knew any particularly fancy strategy. No. Quite simply, because I knew the basic idea that when you are ahead in pieces, you can gain advantage, you can press your advantage by trading pieces. Let's search for a new game. Oh wow, I'll play pawn to d4 in this game. This is a 10 plus 5, and I got it immediately. That was quite nice. Of course, our opponent needs to move as well. Okay, we see d5, and we play c4. So this is a queen's gambit, d4, d5, c4. Will we get a big fight here? They play the Slav, defends the semi-Slav with pawn to c6. I play my pet line, which is c takes d5. They play c takes d5. I attack that again with knight to c3. They play knight to f6. I play knight to f3. And my plan is to go bishop to f4. Aha! And they are already going into some of the more trappy lines here with this bishop to g4. Now I can actually play knight to e5. I've had this position sometimes before. This is attacking the bishop. It is also attacking the critical f7 square. It is also looking at c6 and d7, all quite important squares here. Now after they play pawn to e6, they cannot get their bishop back. So what does that mean? It means that that we can gain a lot of advantage. We play queen to b3 first. This attacks b7, and they are about to have big problems, huge problems, because it will be very hard to defend the king against the coming onslaught here. My plan is to play probably just pawn to e4, unleashing this bishop. Alright, quite interesting. They basically giving up a lot of material to stave off the attack. So they play bishop to d6, which hangs the pawn here on b7. I come in and capture that. castle. Interesting. So here I just take the rook, and right out of the opening we have gained a huge advantage, and we are basically up a rook and a pawn, and our opponent has a very hard time coming up with any move. Okay, so they do try. They are trying in a way to trap our queen. I'm not sure if that is something I should be worried about at all, because they don't have any good way to actually attack our queen except for knight to d7. But on knight d7 I will have queen c6. So what? So they're going to play first bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, then knight. Then they play knight d7. So is there a way for me to stop all of that, so that my queen will not be trapped in there? My guess is that there is, but I'm not sure what it would be. Let's say I play pawn to e3. They play bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight, knight d7. Yeah, it's not going to work. I could play knight a4, queen b4, check, knight back, but then queen back, that's just going for a draw. That's not particularly interesting. I think I will actually just play pawn to e3, and then I will say I'll take a bunch of pieces for the queen if they do decide to try and trap the queen, because they will have to. That's interesting, they do it already now. But if they do it already now, I can play queen c6. I'm pretty sure that it would have been better for them to capture the knight first. Would be knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, knight d7, pawn, queen takes rook, maybe king takes rook, and then pawn takes knight, and I would still be up material. Okay, they try to do it like this, so they do it now. Bishop takes knight, but I play this Zwischenzug, queen takes queen, and here I'm pretty sure they have to play knight takes queen, and I play pawn takes bishop, and I'm still up a huge amount of material. And they go back with the knight. Let's just play pawn to f4 to solidify our pawn center here, not lose that all-important e5 pawn. And I guess I don't have many problems here, to be honest. We do see an imbalance. Of course, there is a little bit of imbalance, but okay, they do try to open up a little bit. They play pawn to f6. I'm just going to capture that. capturing away from the center. I'm guessing they would play knight takes, but yeah, they play knight takes f6, and I am thinking that a move such as bishop d3 should be quite good. Now I'm ready to castle, and trying to make sure that my kind of weak light squares, particularly in the center, are not exploited. And we are up a rook, so we have the material imbalance. You're up a rook and a pawn, so we should just avoid anything fancy and just avoid any sort of horrible blunders, and we should be good to go here. Alright, and what is the situation like? Our opponent is having a good thing. Okay, they are jumping in with the knight. I'm going to chop that off. So, am I going to take it with the bishop or with the knight? I think just capturing with the knight should be quite okay. Just making everything quite easy. The bishops should be very strong in the end game. And let's just go ahead and capture this pawn, winning another pawn. And yes, there's basically no problems at all here. I guess if they are trying to be a little bit aggressive with this pawn move, I think I will take this opportunity to just get castled. So if they play pawn takes pawn, we have a range of options, and I actually kind of like playing rook takes pawn because it comes with a tempo against the bishop, maybe forcing additional trades. I think it actually does force additional trades. I think they will have to play rook takes rook, in which case we will play pawn takes pawn. And what that means is that, as in the other game, our advantage is just growing and growing and growing. You can see the strength of this extra rook is just phenomenal, and we don't really need it because we have this fork here where we play check to the king and also picking up the knight. So I guess we will see a resignation now, as yes, there was the resignation, and we are having some instructive games here, just showing how you can win with very, very simple chess ideas. So let's go on, let's keep the games rolling, let's have another game. We set up the pieces here, which is one of the beautiful things in chess. We have this starting position that you go back to, and in a way it's a bit like in like these time travel movies like Groundhog Day or The Day After Tomorrow, where somebody lives the same day again and again and again, like they start the same way and then they can improve and improve and improve and try to figure out what the correct strategy for that day is. That's what we do with chess as well, and then we can learn what constitutes a good strategy on an abstract level. What's a good strategy in general? What does strategy even mean? What does it mean to think about your actions? What does it mean to calculate consequences? And if we apply those ideas and thoughts that we glean from the chess world onto our own lives, we can make improvements there as well, which I think is absolutely beautiful. We immediately got a new game. Let's try pawn to e4 again, just switch it up. We are playing 10 plus 5. Okay, we see pawn to e5. Let's try out the bishop's opening. Not the strongest opening in the world, but I do have a bit of theory on it. Okay, they just play knight to f6, one of the good moves against this. I am going to could it be interesting to play knight f3 here? Knight takes pawn. Or should we just defend? I think we'll just defend with knight c3, admitting that that bishop to c4, although interesting, is not the strongest way to start the game. So maybe we will see knight c6 here, in which case we will play knight f3. And maybe we will see bishop c5. Maybe we will see d6. I think we could even see c6, although okay, we do see bishop to c5, and I think that may not be the best possible move here. Let's play knight f3. We are attacking this e5 pawn, and okay, this is very interesting. So they do play knight to g4, going for a sort of a reversed fried liver, and I think that's probably not very good. Let's start out with playing pawn to d4, and this should obstruct their plan quite a bit. They play pawn takes. So we may have bishop takes f7, king takes f7, knight g5, check, king somewhere, queen takes, knight, and then maybe pawn takes, knight. I don't think there's any reason really to risk any of that. Let's just play knight takes pawn, attacking this wayward knight over here on g4. And I think our opponent got a little bit ahead of themselves there. Alright, so they are playing pawn to d5. They are playing pawn to d5, which I think we can just capture. So the question is, do we capture it with the bishop or the knight? Let's capture with the knight, because the knight is no longer needed defending e4, because they pushed this knight here, and we are at least doing better out of the opening, but I'm not sure about the precise evaluation here. Not completely sure, no. I guess they would have to castle now, and I think I would also just castle. And okay, they play pawn to c6. Pawn to c6, huh? consider playing bishop g5, because if queen takes g5, then we have a possible knight d7 check, king moves, knight takes a8, and so that's an opportunity, that's a possibility. But bishop g5, maybe just pawn to f6, and that takes care of it. However, so in actuality, we may have a problem here. We may have a problem here because they are trying to go for our d4 knight. I just have a hard time accepting if white should be worse here, but it is possible. Let's say queen to f3. It's tough. This is actually a pretty tough position. I was a little bit too sure of myself, I think. However, I think that maybe this move now this is going to get wild. I'm playing knight f5, which allows bishop takes f2 check. So this game it just exploded. I think I'm actually worse. Okay, interesting. They didn't go for that. They just took. So what does that mean for all of this? I'm guessing this is quite good now, because I can then get out of this with bishop b5 check. This is one of the lines I was kind of hoping for a little bit. So I can now get out of all the nasty stuff, and I can win back my piece by capturing this knight over here, and I will have an attack. So I think we managed to get everything under control again. And yeah, if they they block with the knight, we are of course then going to capture their knight like this. They may have a move like pawn to g3 here. I think pawn to g3 is still good for them. We will then have to play in that case I think we play bishop. This is quite tough. Pawn to g6, bishop g5, pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, queen moves, and we are down a piece, but we do have great advantage in development. Okay, they just go ahead and capture this. Bishop takes. So I think queen takes bishop. Sort of keeping an eye out for this pawn a little bit. Oh, right. This check. Picking up my bishop. Aha. Interesting. So I am not playing my best here, but it is okay to lose a little bit. Let's just interpose the bishop. They will play queen takes bishop, so they do end up being ahead. And I could consider castling, or I could consider capturing this pawn. So what will a clever man do? I actually think I will try to put on a little bit of pressure, just because I am behind here. So we are hoping to somehow catch the king, and we do have 2 pawns for the piece. So knight goes back, and I think here we can consider just castling, and the game may not be completely over, although okay, they do castle. Here we can consider pushing our pawn. Which I think we should do. Obviously they cannot capture it, because we would capture their queen. So they okay, I was having my head completely under my arm in this game. I just hung my queen for no reason at all. I am going to play the game out to give my opponent the satisfaction, I guess, but to say of checkmating me, which they have earned. But yeah, that's what happens when you play chess for like 2 hours straight. What happens is you start making mistakes, but in reality we don't make mistakes. We make happy little accidents, happy little chess accidents. Okay, they are going for some checkmate here, or some attack. Let's put our bishop here. No reason to make it even easier. I mean, it is pretty darn easy at this point, but I mean, this up. They still have to prove the advantage. I'm thinking we actually survive knight e2 because of king b2, and the queen is under attack. In this position, it looks like bishop b6 is the correct reply. Maybe in that case I play a4. My opponent is having a great big think here. Let's say bishop b6, bishop takes knight, bishop takes knight, and c3. Then the problem is, yes, they do go back. Bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, pawn to c3. And the problem is rook to c8. I guess rook to c8 is coming almost no matter what here. Almost no matter what. Let's instead try to activate the h rook. We play rook e2. So interesting, they play queen d5. I mean, probably just rook d1 is what we are going for here. But they are up a knight and a queen. So the game is really, they really need to mess this up quite badly. So they go with the queen here, and I am thinking we move our king, and they just need to do something about their knight, protect it or move it or anything, and we are not going to get the Aussie. So we could hope. Alright, move like this. Well, here we actually have the interesting. No, we do not have that resource. I had hoped that we would have a resource of knight takes g7, but we do not. So let's play bishop e1, and this is going to be really tough. to not just well, we are losing. The question is how. I mean, I could resign. Maybe I should resign. But we've had a pretty easy time in many of the games we've played. So let's have some fun with struggling uphill. Our opponent is, they're not really, okay, now they are doing something. Now this is forcing a bunch of trades, which is a kind of a problem. This knight is annoying, and everything is annoying. There's just no good way to survive this situation, unfortunately. I think actually my opponent may have knight c1 here, in which case I will resign. That's enough for today, and they do play it, and I think we will resign the game. Thank you, very well played to my opponent. Very well played to my opponent. Did I start this game out with a speech about how it doesn't matter so much for me when I'm losing? That was that showed great foresight by me. Maybe I could argue that I lost this game on purpose because I just wanted to prove my point. No, I lost this game, and this is maybe a little typical me, because I overestimated my position, and I then got into a mode of thinking I'm going to win this position no matter what, and I'm not going to win because I will play the best chess. I'm going to win just because the position is better for me, and that's not how chess wins. That's not how chess works. You don't win in chess by having the better position. You win by playing the best moves. Yeah, that's quite typical for me, and I can always learn a little bit more about that, and how I can get trapped by my own psychology. I get the white pieces all the time. I will try an e4 opening again, because it is, and I will try this bishop c4 again, because I want to play better now in this situation. Let's play all of the same moves and then improve on the situation. Okay, so here they just play the knight out. I will also play the knight out. And they play very interesting h6 move. So I castle. And the plan here is almost always to go pawn to d4. They play a6. So I can now go ahead with the plan. Pawn to d4. And they play b5. So let's think about the critical variations first. If I play pawn takes pawn, bishop takes, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes bishop, pawn takes knight, queen takes knight, is it necessary? I could also just drop the bishop back. I could push my own pawn. There are many things I could do. Let's say I drop the bishop back. Let's say they play pawn to b4. I don't believe that could be a problem. So let's go back here. And last time, okay, so they just play pawn takes pawn. is fair. And I think just knight takes pawn. And we are ahead in material. We have a position that is conceptually pretty much like the other one we had. And there I made the mistake of thinking that I was going to win no matter what. And here I will recognize that I believe my position is better, but I will have to play the best moves. And let's be very forceful here and try to capitalize on the fact that our opponent has not castled and not developed their pieces so well. So let's try to gambit this pawn. We play pawn to e4. They can of course come in and capture that with their knight. That knight will be pinned to the king immediately, and we may set up for a big attack here. And they could also play knight takes knight. We can then play queen takes knight. They do play knight takes knight. Okay, so we just play queen takes knight, keeping up the pressure. And everything should be quite good here. Interesting, they play pawn to c4. It's an amazing move. I think queen to e3. It may be. Alright, so they just going to go for this. Trying to trap our bishop. They had to move the knight first. I think knight g4 would have been a good way to win a tempo. I would then play queen f4, and then they would have to probably move the knight, and then I would try to save the bishop. Now the problem is that this is check, and that's they're going to have to resign there, because if they play they put the queen in there, I'll just capture it. And if they play this, I'm still going to capture it. Queen takes, and I will be up material. So let's just take a look here. I think this move was what I was afraid of here. Because here my queen is attacked, and I was thinking, okay, I go here to attack the knight, to attack this knight here, and in that situation they can capture the bishop, or they can try to save the knight. And if they can't save the knight, they will be up material, because this bishop is not going anywhere. So let's say they try pawn to h5, trying to get an escape square for the knight. And I think actually they would be very happy in this position. I think that because the problem is pawn to h3, they can now go knight to h6, and I think I'm losing again here. So that's interesting. I think I need to play more of these e4 openings, not because they are good, but because I need to practice how I think about chess when I'm playing them. I've been playing pawn to d4 for such a long time. has influenced my chess understanding, my chess thinking, because the structures when you play one d4, they are just different from the structures when you play one e4. And I should work on my universality as a chess player a little bit. We have the black pieces. They play one e4. Let's play the modern g6. So we don't have just Sicilians all the time. Wow, bishop c4. That's okay. Bishop g7. c3, very surprising move to me. We play d6. Knight f3, knight f6, attacking their e4 pawn. And they castle, so they just hang the e4 pawn. I mean, I'm taking that. I don't think they have any extremely impressive attack going on. Okay, they are looking at f7 here, but I can just castle, protecting f7 twice. Okay, they attack the knight. And I could go back with the knight, I could defend it with the bishop, I could play knight c5, attacking the queen. I think this idea with bishop f5 and then a potential knight c5 could be quite nice, trying to control. Oh, okay. They are not messing about. So they come in and take the b7 pawn. And that is very smart, because they are now attacking that's a double attack. Okay, so I'm underestimating my opponent again. They are going to win 2 pieces for a rook, and they also get a pawn. Unless we can somehow trap the queen. Can we trap the queen? Let's say knight c5. Queen takes a8. Queen takes a8. No, I don't think we are trapping the queen there. I don't think that will work. Alright, so how do we play this position? What do we do when we have the back against the wall like this? What will we do? What will we do? We could just so this is the plan. We could knight d7. They then have to play rook takes the knight, and then we fork the queen and the rook like this. And it's actually, maybe this will end up well for us. So we had the back against the wall a little bit there. Now let's see what our opponent So this is more about. Alright, they are going just all in here. What is that about? Bishop takes f7 check. Why is it that I can't just capture that? I will just capture that. I mean, what was that about? Okay, they save the queen, they pin the rook. But am I not just getting closer to actually winning the queen? Now I play bishop takes rook, it's defended by the knight, that's the whole point. There is no time for moves such as knight f5. Okay, you go back. And what's the material situation? We are... so we cancel out 2 knights, we cancel out 2 bishops, we cancel out this other bishop, and then I have a rook. I have a rook more. So we both have 3 pieces. But I have 2 rooks, they only have 1 rook. So they... and that's because they randomly sacrificed the bishop for no reason. So let's just chop this knight off. So we don't see any annoying... anything annoying happening with that. Now their situation is very, very bad. Pawn takes here. Let's activate this rook here. Okay, they play d5. We put the knight back. Maybe at some day we're going to have to do something against this, about this pin. So I think we're doing that now. I'll play queen e8, defending the rook, and also because they would like to play a move like knight to g5. So let's play pawn to e6. That should take care of that. Okay, they come in here. I mean, that is very, very risky on their part. I thought that was not really a move they could play. But maybe they can. I thought knight e5 would be good. Let's try that. Knight e5. So I'm guessing knight takes d6. And then knight takes f3 check. Okay, so here. So knight takes f3 check. And the king moves. And just rook takes queen. And knight takes queen. And rook takes knight. And we are still up material. And king g2, knight e1 check. And we should be, yeah. There's just not much to do here. So, let's crack on, let's get on with it, let's have some more games. We have the black pieces again, and we see e4. I don't know, let's play c6, let's play the Caro-Kann. I only really know to play how to play against the Caro-Kann, so this should be interesting. But yeah, what will our opponent do? What will they do against pawn to c6? Okay, they played d4, which I know is the main move. We played d5, and I guess we will see pawn to e5. In which case we will play, or they just capture the exchange Caro-Kann, so pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. Quite nice. And okay, they develop their knight. Let's also develop the knight. I mean, this Forks symmetry that we have going on should benefit us, because we have lost the c pawn, a less valuable pawn than the e pawn, so we should have a little bit of an advantage here. Bishop to b5. I mean, we could just play knight c6. We want to play that anyway. And of course, if knight e5, we defend with queen c7, no problem. And okay, they just castle. So we play bishop out to f5. Kind of the whole point with the Caro-Kann here. So we can play pawn to e6 soon. And of course, if we see pawn to c3 from them, we will be thinking about possible queen a4 from them. So against pawn to c3, we will maybe play a6. Okay, they just develop. So they are now taking away the possibility of queen c7. So let's try to kick this bishop away. And if everything goes well here, they will play bishop a4, we will play b5, bishop back to b3, and then we play e6, unleashing this. Okay, so yeah, we see bishop a4, we play b5, we are going to see bishop to b3, I guess, and bishop to b3. So let's play pawn to e6, and I don't think we have many problems here. I think we are doing quite well. Okay, this little move here, rook to e1. quite sure if that's a problem, to be honest, because this pawn is already defended. So let's play bishop d6, offer an exchange here already, and then try to argue that our light squared bishop is better than their light squared bishop. I'm not sure if that is true. But for now there shouldn't be any bishop takes d5, because we can play knight takes d5. Yeah, of course, if they already had a knight on c3, it would be a different story. Okay, bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop. And now we are ready to castle. We also have another defender on d5. So yeah. So yeah. What will they do? I'm quite happy with the position, I must say. This should be quite alright. Will they castle? We're just wanting to castle in this position and play one of the rooks, probably the a rook to c8. Get this rook here on this nice open file. Should be quite nice. And yeah. What would my opponent want to do in this position? A move like knight to c3. I mean, I would maybe have considered knight to d2 with an idea of knight f1 with an idea of knight g3. I am just going to castle in this position here. And a lot of pieces remain on the board. Only the dark squared bishops and a pawn for each side has been exchanged. So surely a lot of tension going on in this position, but at the same time I don't see how black is in any kind of trouble here. Okay. So what would white even want to play? They are trying to be a little bit aggressive with this knight move. Does it threaten anything? It does not look like it's really threatening anything, so I'll just play rook to c8. Maybe we will see pawn to f4, solidifying that knight. Yeah, that could be a plan. We could consider something like knight a5 actually, because this bishop should be able to exchange this knight for this bishop, which I guess could be beneficial. Or maybe instead of trying to get the bishop, then knight a5 with the plan of going to c4 could also be an idea. I'm laid back now. I just repositioned the mic a little bit to be laid back, with my chest on my mind and my mind on my chest. Rolling down the street, smoking what? I don't know. I don't smoke. Laid back, with a mind on my chest and my chest on my mind. La-di-da-di. We likes to party. We don't cause trouble. We don't bother nobody. We're just some people noises on the mic, and when we rock the mic, we want the mic raw. Alright, so we see something here. We see knight takes knight. Alright, we are going to play rook takes knight. We have a sort of a positional grind fest going on here. So what is their follow-up? What is it that they want to do here? And so they play pawn to a4. Are we then playing pawn to b4? I think we are, and we may follow that up with pawn to a5. But that I'm not so sure about, because I think it all depends on where this knight is going. Also, we could consider starting some attack on the queen side. I mean, moves like knight g4, immediately threatening checkmate, is something that we can consider. And okay, they go knight e2. Okay. I think I'm just playing a5, because now the knight will have a very hard time reaching the b5 square. And if it can't reach that, then there's not as much downside to playing a5. And with a5, I should be making it quite hard for my opponent to even move. We're just playing sort of positional chess here. Of course, I'm also considering rook f c8, trying to coordinate something on c2. So they already tried to do something about that by playing pawn to c2 or themselves immediately. So let's change our attention a little bit. Let's go for this checkmate attack. See if we can distract them a little bit. I'm guessing pawn to g3 or knight to g3. Something to g3 is my guess here. And if knight to g3, we can quite happily play b takes c3, because then b takes c3. Okay, that's not so good. They had played this quite nice game. Now they are playing c takes b4. They didn't really ask themselves why we played this knight move. Of course, queen takes here is going to be a check. Now the king would have to go to f1, and it's very close that queen h1 is checkmate, but it's not, because knight g1 protects. So then we have knight h2, and then king e2. Let me just look how much time I have and see if I can calculate all the way to the end there, if I have time for that. I have 7 minutes here, so it shouldn't be a problem. Let's see, queen h1, knight g1, knight h2, check, king e2. bishop g4 check, pawn to f3, and then I have queen takes g2. So I think this is winning check. Now there's only one move. Literally, knight g1 is the only legal move. And we play the knight check. The king goes to e2, and my idea was I wanted to play bishop g4, skewering the king and the queen so that we would win the queen. That was my idea. Thinking I still want to do that check, because if f3 we have queen takes g2 check, and that was as far as my calculation went. I just looked at that and thought, okay, that looks good. And if the king just moves, we're just capturing the queen, and that should be good. So I don't think, yeah, they do play pawn to f3. We now play queen takes g2, which is check. And I'm guessing they play a move like king e3. Yes, okay, king to e3. So here I have some interesting options. I could play, so my bishop is hanging, but I could play queen takes pawn on b2, pawn takes bishop, rook c3 check, which would force king e2. I think that's working, so let's do that. Queen takes b2. This is about taking away the defense of the c3 pawn more than anything. So we can play rook to c3, penetrate with the rook. And let me get laid back here again. Stretchy. They do play pawn takes bishop. We do play rook c3 check, and we are driving the king. We're driving the king towards ourselves here. It looks like king f4 is the only real move. Queen d3, yeah, queen d3, of course. We just captured that with the rook. Now the idea was queen f2 check, and I think we have checkmate in one now, if I'm not mistaken. Technically checkmate in two, because they can interpose the knight, but king g4 and then queen f6 should be checkmate, I believe. So of course I missed this little move. I still think that checkmate can't be far away. Queen f6 should still be pretty good. relaxation we do. And I think with that I will conclude the video. I hope you had a really nice time. I sure did. I always like hanging out with you guys. And I hope I'll see you in the next video. Sleep tight. Let's do like in chess and